Why should we care about Ukraine? 3 years of hell and counting. This is an update to previous presentations I've done on the subject. A couple of disclaimers as per the following bullet points. I'm not a Ukrainian national. I'm not of Ukrainian descent. I'm an ordinary Canadian. I do not work for the Canadian government, the Ukrainian government, or any national intelligence agency, military agency, or paramilitary outfit. The views expressed here are based upon the facts as we know them, and assessment by numerous professional experts in the field of diplomacy, military history, and geopolitics. In earlier iterations of this presentation, I focused on some historical context, the massive loss of life, the destruction of civilian infrastructure, and the potential cost to the global economy. Studying the course on Ukrainian history by Dr. Timothy Snyder at Yale and reading several of his books provide valuable insight to any discussion of Ukraine. The Russian Federation, hereto referred to as RF, has committed unimaginable and documented war crimes and violations of international law throughout the occupied territories of Ukraine. The President of the Russian Federation has been charged as a war criminal by the International Court of Justice. Aside from the obvious differences, Ukraine has a duly elected democratic government and has, on its own, defended the Western democracies against direct involvement in a bloody war by fighting for us. Give me weapons, not a ride. In earlier versions of this presentation about why we should care about Ukraine, my focus was on the history of the conflict, the illegality of the invasion, and the horrific toll it is taking upon the Ukrainian people and its impacts upon the global economy. To most people in the Western democracies and other parts of the world, the gravity of the current situation in Eastern Europe is not grasped. History will show that we are at one of the most precipitous and crucial moments in history, and it shall go down as such without a doubt. This illegal invasion not only threatens the global rules-based order that has been in place since the end of the Second World War, but it also has far-reaching geopolitical implications. In this context, I'm using the definition of geopolitics as, quote, the struggle over the control of geographical, economic, and demographic entities with an international and global dimension. Geopolitics is a term currently used to describe a wide variety of concepts. Regardless, the impact of this conflict not only affects us as individuals, but also as nations and as blocks of nations who share common values. What this conflict highlights most is how history and the misuse of modern communication technology can degrade society's trust in both democratic and judicial institutions and lead to armed conflict and mass civilian casualties. Our modern information age has made geopolitics more about culture, economics, and trade agreements rather than geography and political power. If the countries that value a rules-based international order had responded to the RF invasion of Ukraine in a unified, powerful, and coherent way, it would have been a signal to other dictatorships and autocracies that they would suffer significant consequences if they attacked another nation in such a barbaric and horrific way. For us ordinary citizens who enjoy freedom, electricity, water, a roof over our heads, and food on our tables, there will be a great deal more to pay for than just the cost of fuel, sunflower oil, or grains if an aggressor such as the RF is permitted to win. Moreover, the longer this war goes on, the more it will cost our societies and governments, which will further degrade our own base of financial and economic support to our communities. Due to severe environmental damage in Ukraine, which will take decades to recover from, the cost of grains and oilseeds will remain high for many years, which does not help many developing nations economically. Furthermore, the cost of reconstruction from all of this unnecessary mass destruction will be in the trillions. Funds personnel, expertise, and materials used for war and reconstruction diminish resources for use against natural disasters and other important global issues. It is also a catastrophe and an ongoing catastrophe for the global refugee crisis, adding millions of additional people around the world in need. The war has precipitated a rapid change in geopolitical calculus with regards to NATO, the European Union, the Western democracies, China, North Korea, Iran, the Middle East, and the position of far too many other countries. First and foremost, we should care simply because of the humans and the non-humans who are suffering from yet another major conflict. Many of us may feel helpless, and most of us have needs closer to home. The thing that we all need to understand is that RF's actions in Ukraine affect the whole planet's systems of governance and the resources humans and other living species are going to need. The cost of inaction or a failure of the actions taken will go far beyond the next 10-year average price of a bottle of sunflower oil. With robust institutions and laws, democracy is our best invention so far for governing ourselves, and it has to be defended now, both at home and abroad. Why must we continue to care about Ukraine? I conclude with a more emotional point in that we as Canadians, Americans, Europeans, etc. should be deeply troubled by the RF's regime accusing us of supporting Nazis or fascism. Have the people of Russia truly forgotten that we helped them defeat fascism and that their victory at Stalingrad was a victory with us as well? Millions of our citizens fought and died along with them. Let us not forget. Let us not allow history to be rewritten or to repeat itself. If you wish to help, please visit the following link. Please stand with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!